Hello students, welcome to KENE'S Educare, a group of KENE solutions. This is part 1 of lesson number 14, Natural Resources. Right? Now as the name suggests that we are going to study some of the natural resources around us. Now, if I tell you in short what is the meaning of natural resources, like these are the resources that are used to support life and meet people's need. Okay, what these natural resources are? The resources that are used to support the life and meet people's need, and they are naturally available for them. And you know that there are two different types of natural resources. One is renewable resources and the other one is non-renewable resources. Okay, so in this lesson we will be briefing the light through natural resources, and you will be knowing many more facts on the natural resources, what exactly they are, which are the resources which are naturally present in the surrounding, and how many types of natural resources exist. So we have renewable sources and we have non-renewable sources, but we can even classify them further, and we can have four different classification for natural resources. How many? We can have four different bases of classification. The first one is based on renewability or exhaustibility, whether you can renew that resource or that resource can get exhausted. Okay, so it is based on renewability or exhaustibility. Second thing, based on ownership. Okay, third is based on stages of development, whether they are going to develop or not. And the fourth basis is based on their origin. So you can write that, you can write those points in your book, that natural resources are the resources that are used to support life and meet people's need, and these are naturally available in the nature, which are of two types. One is renewable sources and the other one is the non-renewable sources. Okay, and now we can classify this natural resources into four types. First is based on renewability or exhaustibility. Second is based on ownership. Third is based on stages of development, and the fourth one is based on origin. Okay, so these are the four different ways of classifying the natural resources. I want each one of you all to write this in your book, and then we'll study about the classification of natural resources based on renewability or exhaustibility. Okay, I hope you all are writing these basic points in your book. Once you're done writing that, we will start discussing about the further part. Okay, so now you can give the heading as classification of natural resources, and that is based on renewability or exhaustibility. Okay, so based on renewability or exhaustibility, natural resources are classified into non-renewable resources and renewable resources. What are they classified into? Renewable and non-renewable resources. Now you might be thinking, what are non-renewable and renewable resources, right? So first we'll discuss about renewable resources. See, renewable resources, they will not get depleted through usage. Renewable means you can renew them again and again. Okay, so like water is a renewable resource because it gets replenished due to hydrological cycle. We have water cycle that goes on continuously, right? So because of that, water gets replenished due to this hydrological cycle, and water is very important renewable resource. Just imagine, once this renewable, like once this uh, renewable resources becomes non-renewable, it will become like very much difficult for us, because water is something which is the very basic need for us, right? We require water for our survival as well, because 70% of human body is made up of water, right? So this renewable resources water, it becomes very important for us. Then you can even write some other important examples of renewable energy, like we have tidal energy, we have wind energy, we have geothermal energy, solar energy. Okay, so you can write this example. So I want you all to write about renewable resources first, that they will not get depleted through usage, and water is a renewable resource because it gets replenished due to the hydrological cycle, and it is an important renewable resource. And apart from water, we have solar energy, tidal energy, wind energy, geothermal energy, which are the other renewable resources available around us. Okay, so please do write all these points in your book. Once you're done writing about this renewable resources, we will start our discussion with non-renewable resources, okay? But please complete this quickly about renewable resources and try to mention as many examples as you can, okay? Okay, after this renewable sources, we have non-renewable sources. Now, non-renewable sources are the one which we cannot renew. Like once you have used it, you cannot renew it. Like petrol, diesel, CNG that we use in our cars. Like even in like in any of the vehicle we use it. What happens? We need to feel it again, right? Because you are using it, and we cannot renew that again, right? So that kind of resources are non-renewable resources. Okay, so it takes millions of years for the formation of this non-renewable resources, and you can write the example like coal, natural gas. They all take millions of years for forming this non-renewable resources. Okay, and apart from this, other examples of non-renewable resources can be petroleum, mineral. Then like you can write minerals like iron, copper, manganese. They are all non-renewable resources that we have. And even the petroleum that we use, as I told you, like the petrol, diesel, CNG, they are all non-renewable resources. Then after this, you can define that non-renewable sources of energy are those resources which will get exhausted after their usage after a certain period of time. Now you might be knowing that petrol, diesel and all, why are we shifting to this electric cars and all? The main reason is because the petroleum that we are using, petrol, diesel and all, they are non-renewable resources and they will get replenished. Okay, they will end one day. We have a limited storage for them, right? So that is the reason, because we cannot renew them again, we are coming up with some other ways so that we can at least save our non-renewable resources, right? So I want you to write about this non-renewable resources in your book, everyone. I hope you all are writing. Do mention all the examples properly, everyone. After this non-renewable resources, the next thing that we need to study is classification of natural resources, and that is based on stages of development. Okay, so you can write that based on stages of development, natural resources can be classified as stocks, reserves, actual resources and potential resources. Okay, so we have stocks, reserves, actual resources and potential resources, and this is on the basis of stages of development. We can classify natural resources like this. Sorry. I hope you all are writing this, that based on stages of development, natural resources can be classified as stocks, reserves, actual resources, and potential resources. Okay, next thing that we have is classification on the basis of origin, from where like they have originated. So on the basis of the origin we can have the classification further, as biotic and abiotic. Biotic means living and abiotic means non-living. So on the basis of origin, natural resources can be classified into two. First is biotic and the second one is abiotic. Okay. So I want you all to please write this thing in your book. Okay, so after this, on the basis of origin, the next thing that we have is on the basis of ownership. Like, how can we classify the natural resources on the basis of ownership? So, we can have four different classifications over here, and this is on the basis of the ownership. Okay, so we can have international resources, we can have national resources, we can have community resources, and we can have an individual resource. Like, you can remember it, you are an individual, so individual resources, you have people around you, that becomes community. So community resources, the place where you live is your like nation, right? So national and international. So these are the four different types of classification of natural resources on the basis of ownership. Okay. So please write this and then we'll study something else. Now I would like to ask you one question. Tell me, why are natural resources important for us? Like, what do you think that why natural resources are as important for us? See, I'll tell you the answers. Natural resources, they become extremely important because we need to survive, right? And this natural resources are the one who are helping us to survive, right? So for the survival of human beings, this natural resources are extremely important. Like if I have to give an example, we know that water is a natural resource, right? So water is used for drinking, for generating power. Then we have another example as coal. Now coal, we use it for generating the power again. Then petroleum, which we use it as fuel for transportation, right? For human survival, this natural resources, they become very important and play a very important role in our life, though be it some natural renewable resources or be it non renewable resources, they are extremely important for us. Okay, so you can explain this in your own words as well. Okay. So after this, now my next question to you all is, what do you think, from where do we get this natural resources? So the answer for this is very easy, right? So natural resources, they occur naturally because they are found on the earth's surface in the environment of the earth. Okay, where do we find them? We can find them on the earth's surface in the environment of the earth. For example, like we get solar energy from the sun, right? So that is natural for us. The natural resources, they even come to us from some inorganic materials, and we know them as abiotic, right? What do we know them as? Abiotic. Like, which are coming, like some of the natural resources, they come from inorganic materials, and we know this inorganic materials as abiotic. Then few natural resources, they come to us from organic matter, and we know them as biotic. So you can write that natural resources which come from inorganic material. Okay, if it is coming from inorganic material, that are abiotic. And the natural resources which come from organic matter, they are biotic. Okay, so I want you all to please write this in your book. Okay, so I hope you all have written about this biotic and abiotic part. Now the next thing that we are going to do is, I'm going to show you the lesson, everything one by one. You have to just go through it, okay? And you need to just check like what exactly we are going to study, because I'm going to start with that in the next class. Okay? Sorry. So The first thing that we are going to start with, like in the lesson is short, it won't take much time, okay, for us. So the first thing that we are going to discuss is resources on the planet, which are the different resources which are available on the planet for us, like which are available on earth for us. Then under that we will be discussing on the first resource that we have is air, which we also call it as atmosphere, right? This is also one of the most important, you can say, resources that we have. Then we will discuss on the role of atmosphere in climate control, like how the air or the atmosphere is helping us in controlling the climate. And then we will be discussing on the movement of air, which we know it as wind. Now if you know, we have wind, storm, they are all different, it all depends upon the, like you can say it depends on the, it depends on how the air is moving. If the air is moving very fast, then we call it as like storm. If it's normal, then like wind, like, right? So we will be discussing on the movement of the air. Then after discussing a bit on air, we'll start with rain, because through rain we have water. So we'll be studying about the cloud formation, or indirectly we can say that we'll study about the water cycle in short. Okay. Then after this, after studying this part in detail about the water cycle, cloud formation and rain, we'll discuss on air pollution. What we are going to discuss on? We will discuss air pollution, which is again very important for us. Okay. Then after this air pollution, the next thing that we have is water, which we also know as a wonder liquid. What do we know this water as? As a wonder liquid. So we'll discuss about the water, and then we will even discuss on the water pollution part, because we have air pollution, we can even have water pollution. So we'll discuss on that. And then after water pollution, we'll discuss on soil, and under this topic soil, we'll be studying about formation of soil, how exactly the soil has been formed. Okay, so we will study that in detail about the formation of soil. Then we will discuss on composition of soil, what exactly the soil is made up of. Okay, that will be the composition of soil. And then after that we have soil pollution. So you can see we were studying about the air, then we studied about the atmosphere and bed, about air pollution. We studied about water, about the water cycle, right? About rain, how the cloud has exactly been formed, water pollution. Then we will study about the soil. Under that, we'll study about the composition of soil, like what exactly the soil is made up of, and then we'll discuss on soil pollution. So these are some of the basic things that you have already studied in your previous classes, right? Then after this soil pollution, we'll discuss on soil erosion, which is a major concern for us, because some or the other how soil also have a very, you can say, very great impact on us, right? Because we use them for for agricultural stuff and all, right? So under the soil erosion part, we'll study the activity, that is effect of flowing water on the top soil. So we will be discussing the soil erosion part. And then we will be discussing on the biogeochemical cycles. Now all the four cycles which are mentioned, they are very very important for us. So the first biogeochemical cycle that we are going to study is about the water cycle in detail, because that provide us with water, and that is how water becomes some renewable source of energy, right? So water is very important for us, so we will be discussing on water cycle in detail. Then after this water cycle, the next thing that we will discuss on is nitrogen cycle. Okay, because we know that plants, see, in the environment, in the atmosphere, we have 70% of nitrogen which has been present. But the thing is, plants cannot use this atmospheric nitrogen directly. So for using them, they have to convert this atmospheric nitrogen into some, you can say, useful form, that is, you can say, ammonia. Okay, then we have nitrates and nitrites, into which it would have to like convert the atmospheric nitrogen to. Okay, Then after this, nitrogen cycle. This is how the nitrogen cycle looks like in nature. This is how it is exactly. Okay. After this nitrogen cycle, we will be discussing on carbon cycle in detail. Okay. So we'll discuss on carbon cycle, and after the carbon cycle, we'll discuss on oxygen cycle in detail. How exactly oxygen is sent back in the atmosphere during the process of photosynthesis. See, photosynthesis process again is very important for us, right? Because we know that through the process of photosynthesis we get oxygen, and that is how it keeps on continuing, right? And in return we provide carbon dioxide to plants. So both of them are very important, oxygen for us and carbon dioxide for plants, right? So this is how we'll be like studying the oxygen cycle, and then we will discuss on the greenhouse effect. What is the exact effect of greenhouse in the atmosphere? See, greenhouses, when more amount of carbon dioxide, methane, chlorofluorocarbons, they get trapped in the atmosphere, then we say that there's a greenhouse gas. Like, these are the greenhouse gases which are being released, and these greenhouse gases, they have an harmful impact on our atmosphere, and we call them as greenhouse effect. Okay. Then after studying about this greenhouse effect, we will be even discussing on ozone layer. Now ozone layer is nothing new to you all, right? You might have studied, but still there might be some other points which you might be thinking that we should, like, I will be adding on to it. Okay. Then we'll discuss on the summary discussion, like what exactly we have discussed in the whole lesson. We'll study that, and after the summary discussion on what we have learned so far in the lesson, we have few exercise questions to discuss. So I want you all to please go through the question once, like what kind of questions can be, like, are there that we are going to further discuss at the end. So please go through the question, everyone. So this is how, after discussing the 6 questions, we will be ending up with the lesson. So the first part, as I give you the introduction to the lesson, I wanted to do the same for this lesson as well, though the lesson is a bit easy. The important part is the biogeological cycles and why natural resources are important for us. Okay, so make sure that what we have studied so far in the lesson, see, everything that you studied, like natural resources can be classified on the basis of 3 4 criteria that we discussed. Make sure you know them. Okay, and the basic thing we all are aware of, that how exactly the water cycle, oxygen cycle, carbon cycle and nitrogen cycle functions, right? I can understand, like uh, many, like, you might not be knowing about the nitrogen and the carbon cycle, but the oxygen and water cycle you all are aware of, right? So I'll try to finish up with this lesson soon. So for that, you need to keep a habit of revising each and every concept after every class, though we will be doing the revision in sessions as well. So please be prepared with whatever we have studied so far. I'll be starting with the rest of the part in the next class. Thank you everyone.